January 5th, 1978. Jamaica was on fire, politically and literally. The country was split between Michael Manley's PNP and Edward Seaga, JLP. The streets of Kingston were a battlefield. Political gangs exchanged gunfire almost every night. But what happened this night would go down in history as one of the most cold-blooded acts of the era. 5 men died here. The sea still washes over the place where they fell, washing away the blood, but never the memory. Their names were whispered through Kingston's ghettos. Their deaths were called murder. January 1978. Jamaica buried its sons. No one was convicted. No one was punished. But the story doesn't end with the funeral. It begins there. But to understand what happened, we must go back. Back to a plan that began in Kingston's backstreets, where politics, hunger, and betrayal led them straight into a trap. Early that morning, a group of known JLP loyalists were offered work unloading guns at Green Bay firing range. Hungry for cash and weapons, they took the bait. What they didn't know was that this was a trap set by members of the Jamaican Defense Force, allegedly acting under orders from the government. They got into a truck before dawn, believing they were going to unload guns at the wharf. Instead, the truck drove them out of the city, farther and farther, until the sea appeared. They were herded out onto the range. No weapons. No escape. Only soldiers in position, rifles ready. When the men reached Green Bay, soldiers were already in position. The men were herded onto the firing range. No chance to escape. Then, the gunfire started. The first shot cracked like thunder. The men ran, but there was nowhere to run. Bullets cut them down in the open sand. When it was over, the soldiers stood over the bodies. The trap was complete. It was no crossfire. This was an execution. 5 dead, 1 barely alive, crawling, whispering prayers, but survived to tell the tale. The government claimed the men were planning an attack and were killed in a legitimate shootout. But evidence and survivor testimony told another story. The men had been lured out of Kingston, unarmed and slaughtered. The country erupted. The opposition called it a political assassination. Families of the victims demanded justice, but no high-ranking official was ever convicted. The Green Bay massacre deepened the political divide. The killings fueled more retaliation, more blood in the streets, and more fear. Many Jamaicans realized this wasn't just politics anymore. It was war. Today, Green Bay is just a quiet stretch of coastline. But for those who remember, it is haunted ground. A reminder of how far political violence once went, and how quickly a nation can turn on its own. Do you think the Green Bay massacre was a necessary act to stop gang warfare? Or was it cold-blooded political murder? Tell us in the comments and subscribe, because next time we're looking at the 1980 election, the bloodiest in Jamaica's history.